spoke earlier, our agenda would be just to explain all of you. First, to introduce myself, I am Syed Amin Kadir. I'm the editor for Manufacturing Today magazine. So we'll have first 5 minutes just to introduce the panelists. Then for 40 minutes, we'll have panel discussion on role of augmented reality in manufacturing supply chain. And the last 15 minutes, we'll have presentation from Mr. Kunal Patel of Team Viewer, and we'll conclude with question answer. So thanks once again, gentlemen, for joining today's webinar on role of augmented reality in manufacturing supply chain. So just to talk about our publication, Manufacturing Today is owned by ITP Media, which has over 100 weekly and monthly publications and magazines. We are based headquartered in Dubai, but we have a publication in India as well. And besides print, we have online events and digital platform. We are present with website and various apps and all. Just to introduce our partner for today's event, TeamViewer. TeamViewer is the leading global technology company that provides a connectivity platform to remotely access, control, and manage and monitor repair devices of any kind, from laptop, mobile phones to industrial machines and robots. TeamViewer proactively shapes digital transformation and continuously involved in the fields of augmented reality, Internet of Things, and artificial intelligence. As you know, manufacturing industry has now been at the forefront in the embracing, implementing new technologies. In this disruptive age, the agility of the company to adapt new technologies will define its success. As you know, manufacturing companies are tasked to prepare themselves for the pandemic like COVID-19 in the future. So everybody is looking at digitally transforming themselves. And augmented reality is among the newest wave of digital transformation that fast becoming normal in the manufacturing sector. Let's move on to introduce our panelists for today's event. We will have very eminent speakers today. We are very honored and privileged to have them for today's event. To start with, we'd like to introduce and welcome Mr. Senthil Kumar KK, National Manager, Supply Chain Transformation at Hindustan Coca-Cola. Hello, Senthil.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon all.
As a Supply Chain Transformation Manager, he is responsible for deploying Lean and Six Sigma methodologies across all pan-India sites. Then we have Mr. Ajit Deshpande, Country Head IT, India and Southeast Asia at Faurecia, India. Mr. Deshpande has more than 24 years of experience and has worked with organizations like Tata Group and the TL Manufacturing as head of IT for 12 years before joining Faurecia. He has worked on SAP, CRM, PLM, and also experience with digitalization of shops for auto and aerospace part production.
Hi all.
And we also happy to have Mr. Vineet Sahni. He's the Group Chief Executive Officer of Lunex, which is part of DKJN Group. And he is also Senior Executive Director, Lunex Industries Limited. Hello, Vineet.
Hi everyone.
As you know, Vineet oversees entire operations for the group, and he's a veteran for the automotive industries, over 32 years of experience. And he specifically has a rich experience and knowledge about the techno-commercial background. And we also happy to have Mr. Anand Subramanian. He is the Vice President for the Tech Vision Business Unit at Frost & Sullivan. He's also the moderator for today's event. Mr. Anand manages the group's overall business that includes consulting and is also responsible for providing the business unit's syndicated reports to clients. Mr. Anand focuses on engagement and issues that deal with the evolutions of emerging technologies and business models, their impact on market terrain, and the firms that operate within it, and also manage the business unit's profit and loss in Asia. He is based in Chennai. He heads Frost & Sullivan's Global Innovation Center in India and manages its internal captive center.
Thanks everyone. Good to be part of this particular session.
And we have Bala Morgan N, Principal Architect, Automation Design and Flipkart Internet Private Limited. Hi Bala, thanks for joining.
Hey all, good afternoon. Happy to meet you all here.
Yeah, Bala has more than 18 years of experience in operation, program management, project management, and supply chain design, implementation, and re-engineering. Bala has deep experience of designing and implementing large automated distribution center for apparel and e-commerce companies. Currently, he heads automation function in Flipkart, where they design and implement interesting technology intervention in the supply chain processes. We also have today's partner, TeamViewer, which is headed by Kunal Patel, who is the Director and Head of Business for India and South Asia. Hi, Kunal.
Hi, Amin.
Hi.
Happy to be here and happy to have all the esteemed panelists to meet each one of you. Thank you for having me.
Kunal is responsible for the business management of TeamViewer Solutions for India and South Asia. And Kunal has about 17 years of experience of sales and business management and has held many key positions in several renowned technology companies like SAP and Gartner. We appreciate your participation. I will now hand over to Anand, who will take the pursuit further for the panel discussion.
Thank you. Thank you, Amin. All right. Thanks, everyone. And I think we have a very, very eminent team of people on this particular panel. And I have the pleasure, of course, of quickly connecting the dots related to this particular briefing, the role of augmented reality in manufacturing and supply chain today. I'd like to draw your attention on a couple of things associated with this. And we do have specific questions for the panelists. And we do expect that over the next hour or so, we're all going to be enlightened with a lot of case studies as well as other important things that have occurred within this particular interesting space. So that said, let me just quickly go to the next slide. So Frost & Sullivan, many of you might have heard about it, but we've been in the business of information research for over 60 years. And we are calling ourselves as the growth pipeline company. When we say the growth pipeline, we kind of see that it's increasingly very difficult for organizations around the world to ensure that they achieve growth. And when we did a survey with the CEOs around the world, this was the number one objective that most CEOs had mentioned. So we focus within the entire universe of strategies that allows companies to grow. We need to follow this particular growth pipeline cycle that ensures companies look up at the opportunity, evaluate them, look up at go-to-market strategies, implement it, and monetize and optimize the different strategies that we have adopted. We've been, of course, present in almost 45 cities in 21 countries. And we do have at least about 1,800 analysts that constantly track, trace, and look up at different market segments around the world and give our recommendations about what's driving growth within those segments. Now, why is it becoming increasingly difficult to achieve growth, right? And these are the 8 strategic imperatives that we believe is actually putting a pressure on the leadership team around the world to achieve or attain growth. It could be the compression of value chain. We are seeing newer business models that are coming into play. We are looking up at internal challenges in organization. Competition is increasing, geopolitical chaos and other things. But of importance in this particular session for today would be the ones that we will be covering quite a bit are disruptive technologies, the convergence associated with those technologies, and what is the trend, the mega trend that's actually shaping up for the future. And mega trends are, of course, macroeconomic perspectives that actually have an impact on business, industry, people, and others. So it's important we know these particular trends, and disruptive technologies then takes it over. So that said, we are focused on transformational growth. And just to let you know that we believe that almost 90% of the global technology development happen across these 9 core technology clusters that you see on this on the left-hand side of the screen. They are, of course, in the sensors and instrumentation, chemicals and advanced material, advanced manufacturing and automation, microelectronics, energy utilities, health, wellness, medical devices imaging. And of course, the backbone of development associated with technology is all related to the communication technology. And any and every development that happens across these core technology clusters have its application across different vertical markets that you see on the right-hand side. This is not exhaustive, but we believe that all innovations that happen across the technology clusters finds its application on different markets. So that said, I'd like to kind of involve and explore the different opportunities in terms of top technologies that we have identified that's likely to have an impact in the next 2 to 5 year time frame. And that's what you see on this particular slide, which are the technologies that Frost & Sullivan has identified as potentially game changers associated with these technologies. Now, two things that comes out of this. One is if companies are invested in these technologies, they stay invested. And for the larger players, if they wish to integrate solutions into their architecture, then these are the technologies that are available across different domains that's worth exploring. And the second one is these technologies are not siloed within one particular technology cluster. There is always a probable chance of these technologies likely to interact with each other, and that forms a serendipitous solution that was otherwise not thought about. So we could see the convergence of technologies that comes from sensors to chemicals that can perhaps come out with a solution in the devices space. So a lot of technologies are there, a lot of players are there, and a lot of interesting development that's happening. And today's development is very interesting in the space of augmented reality. So augmented reality, mixed reality, virtual reality. This is where we are seeing a lot of things that's actually shaping up. So that draws my attention on this particular slide briefly. I know we have our panel of experts who are aware of different things, but for the larger crowd out here, augmented reality is one of the most recent of movements of digital transformation. And it is transforming the face of many supply chains, from factory floor to the field. Augmented reality is changing the way factory workers, service technicians, and engineers interact. And a few applications for augmented reality include, of course, logistics and supply chain, assembly, product design and development, quality assurance, and hands-on safety training. Now, if you look up at specific benefits that enhance this particular technology, is that its ability to improve training opportunities, right? The use of digital tools to simulate real-world situations is quite awesome. But display overlays and interactive simulations that represent realistic scenarios and situations can provide a more effective learning opportunities for training. And that's specifically kind of saves a lot of time, energy, and effort. The second one, of course, is related to better inventory visibility and improving warehouse efficiency. AR can provide deeper insights and greater controls on what's on the shelves, what's moving, what isn't, and what the customers buy. So with smart glasses, which are also available and helping improve the order picking process, showing warehouse workers what to grab, where to place, and whether it's on the shelf or on the cart. Another important thing is related to remote collaboration. Today, remote work is not new. We've all been working remotely and quite efficiently. But remote collaboration hasn't always been possible in the traditional hands-on world of supply chain management. And that's where we believe that augmented reality actually opens up new avenues for digital collaboration and expert assistance for troubleshooting, maintenance, saving time and money by eliminating the need to physically transport people and resources from other parts. And lastly, of course, we do have a panel of people that are from varied industries. It also kind of improves the delivery. Getting the product into the hands of the end user can be a huge time waster. That is because we have to search for the parcels, look for trucks, search for the building where the delivery is, and take it. And that's where AR is becoming the new normal in supply chain management, where it combines real-world scenarios with digital innovation to perform traditional tasks faster and more efficient. Some key technologies, of course, are mentioned here. Head-mounted displays that require high resolution to reduce screen door effect, high angular resolution display, and wide field of view are the core technologies to achieve the near eye display. There are certain challenges that the research world is addressing in terms of resolution, dizziness control, and other things, but we see that all of that is likely to be addressed in the next few years. That said, augmented reality in supply chain management and logistics is AR in supply chain can help in speeding up production, reducing downtime of machines, minimizing in-house costs, and achieving shorter sales processes, thus boosting worker engagement and enhancing overall productivity of the employees. Now, in terms of the growth opportunities, because all of us would like to know what opportunities lie for us related to that investment in this particular space is the last mile delivery, for example, the distribution center. Precise logistics are required in this space to ensure that the correct packages are strategically placed in the correct delivery vehicles. So from a distribution standpoint, it's pretty useful. From a point of delivery, where the parcel arrives and its final destination is referred to, is also quite critical. We just want to make sure that AR-enabled smart devices serve as an all-in-one technology solution for delivery persons. And Pickup and Drop, PUDO, as it's called in its acronym, allows customers to collect orders at specific locations such as local outlets or lockers. So all of these actually benefits, and the entire stakeholders associated with this is what is actually explained here. We see AR companies, the large ones that are actually providing a lot of mass production of hardware, software, and content. And then you have the application providers like the big names that you see here. In addition to this, we also see a lot of research and development organization that's actually coming out with cutting edge research of leveraging AR technology, especially in industrial design, healthcare, and other simulations. Policymakers such as the European Union and other important organizations are creating a lot of buzzworthiness associated with this. And of course, specifically on the funding, we see a lot of funding that's happening both in public as well as in private domains. So that said, we see a lot of names here. These are all firms that are actually working on the different technologies that is actually making augmented reality what it can achieve and how we all could embrace this particular space. So for today, we are going to address a lot of challenging questions. Are we able to understand this? How are we accounting for these trends? Are we aligning ourselves with manpower and resources? Do we have a robust digitally led innovation platform? So all of this is going to be addressed in our session today. And I'm happy to start off my discussions first on this particular domain to bring in the key experts who are driving this transformational change. So I'd like to first connect with Mr. Ajit Deshpande, who's the country head of Faurecia. So Ajit, we've been receiving a lot of interest and a lot of guidance in this particular space. And you, as the head of information technology with Faurecia, how are you leveraging the digital technologies such as augmented reality and virtual reality, besides others, to accelerate your firm's digital transformation here in India?
Thanks, Anand. I hope I'm audible to everyone. Yes, I'm representing Faurecia, who is a global leader in auto component manufacturing. And we have been coined ourselves as a technology company. And we are exploring all possible venues of and avenues of technologies to be tried, tested. We have failed in many. So But for this, I will say this pandemic has actually accelerated the growth of digitization in Faurecia. Just to give you an information, 1/3 of design capacity of Faurecia is operated out of from India, which is roughly around 1,500 to 1,800 engineers working for Faurecia only in design. And this is where virtual reality, digitizations, augmented reality has helped us because we have plants across 35 countries and the design built by Indian team are getting into production as globally. So we have used these virtual tools to connect with our end customers or our internal customers. So productionization, tool validations, all these were very useful for us. Then when we are talking about machines, then we have used even the expertise with help of virtual tools from say I typically will give an example. I have a plant in Ammavarupalli, which is next to Kia, which is in Andhra Pradesh, close to Bangalore. Has a problem and getting solved out of Germany with the help of a virtual tool is what we have gained out of all these situations and the tools in a ground reality. Definitely, we have used the training as another aspect to often virtual reality in our day-to-day life. So these are some of the common examples which we have used in manufacturing and design.
Very good. Thanks a lot. And it's good to hear that you're already leveraging it and that you're able to kind of get the support from other regions. So I'd like to now get my next panel member, Mr. Sendil. Mr. Sendil, before I kind of throw the question, I'd like to check with you if you have anything that you'd like to share, please.
Yep. I think on a general perspective, since we are going to talk more on industry supply chain part, I would wanted to give a context about what actually augmented reality is for the general public. So moving away from the manufacturing or an industrial sector, if I wanted to give a brief about what exactly it means so people can quickly relate, connect, and think of various use cases. So what we mean by augmented reality is like enhancing the physical environment by bringing in some relevant digital content on a real time. So that's a key aspect here. And I would quote some simple examples which people can quickly relate to. So starting from Hollywood movies. So as early as 1987, when the first movie, when Predator came in, so we had head-mounted display and where we would see the thermal cameras showing the scenes. And it is not just restricted there. There are several movies like Terminator or even the Iron Man, and as recent as the Avatar, where you could see extensive usage of all the digital tools and technologies, and especially augmented reality is very well used in showing the valley and the navigation part. On the sports again, we could see extensive usage of augmented reality. Let it be, I could bring in cricket, which is very familiar in at least in Indian region. So decision making, we see Hawkeye, we see the ball's trajectory that is displayed immediately after a ball is bowled, and to take a decision whether it is an LPW or not, or let it be the player statistics. Once he hits a 50 or an 100, so we have an overlay on the pitch on which all the directions he was able to hit and how did he score. Or a bowler when he completes a certain row of wickets, we see all the balls which he delivered and which all the balls were able to take a wicket or which all the balls were read for boundary. So these are some of the areas, and the most important aspect in sports, I would say, is the advertising. So we could see the grounds now being digitally and dynamically changed with the advertisement that they want. So the broadcaster has the flexibility based on the region on which it is getting telecasted. So to real time change the content of the advertisement so you get sponsor and more relevant sponsors. So I think these are the areas I want people to connect to so that they will be able to understand what AR is and how they can relate to. And if at all they wanted to physically explore it, they can always do a Google search on their mobile for any image, mostly like a dog or a horse, and you can see view in 3D in the bottom once you scroll down. And then when you click view in my space, you will be taken to an AR space where you have to scan your surrounding and you will be able to bring in the animal whichever animal that you're searching for on your real space. So that will give you a quick understanding of what AR is. So that's something that I wanted to quickly give us and connect or context to people who are not so familiar about AR.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I think the Pokemon character
Yes.
the Japanese guys built actually forced us to kind of look into that particular space. Thanks, Sendil. That's really an eye opener for many people listening to this session. My specific point to you, you're of course driving a lot of things in the supply chain space, and predominantly in the FMCG industry. So, what are the typical challenges that you foresee, and how is it that you can address it? Basically, from asset utilization, productivity, or process safety, etc. What's your views on these?
Yeah. So, industry like ours, which is an process industry, unlike an discrete manufacturing industry where each equipment will have a batch production. So, this being in continuous production, and our lines predominantly are automated. The biggest challenge is most of our factories are in remote location, and if at all there is a downtime, if I need to have my service engineer to be available to service, the experts, the local expert might not be always the best person to help us solve this, but we need to have them on the factory to assess what the situation is, and then he has to circle back to the OEM who might be mostly sitting on the other part of the world, and then he has to communicate, explain this. All of this is taking more good amount of time, and it is we are losing good amount of productivity and cost on this angle. So here we have remote connect for most of our equipments, but again, it is only in data connection. So when we add the augmented reality element into this solution, so it becomes a more collaborative effort, and things get started much faster, and we are able to get the solution real time, and the person on the shop floor are able to make all the changes, which is guided by the person on the other side of the world. And all of this, you can imagine the time that it saves and the effort that it saves of people traveling. So that's a big plus on having an augmented related AR related solution for maintenance in our industries.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree and concur with your thoughts. Basically, you're saying that your productivity issues are all addressed leveraging this. Thanks. All right. I'm just going to go in circles for the benefit of everyone. My next panelist that I would like to probe and check is with Mr. Balamurugan, who's the principal architect at Flipkart. And today, there's no day that passes without any of us actually going to Flipkart or one of these e-com places to place our orders. And I know the amount and the magnitude of data and information that needs to be processed every second for everything that you do. So most of us, of course, today buy our essentials online. And how e-commerce company like yours are using augmented reality to make the platform easier, navigate, enhance the virtual experience for customers?
Thanks, Mr. An interesting question. I will address this from 2 points of view, right? One is from the customers and second is from the retailers, right? From the customer point of view, if we realize probably like 8-10 years back, people were skeptical about buying digitally. They thought people would only buy books and CDs and mobiles, where there are a lot of personal categories like fashion, which people said nobody would buy digitally because it needs a lot of touch and feel, including vegetables. But now, as we speak, that has actually taken a larger space in the e-commerce, right? As we speak. But that has definitely does not give the complete experience as you do a physical shopping, where you do a try and buy, right? Example, today a lot of customers buy a product and it doesn't fit and hence they have to return it. That kind of gives a unpleasant experience, right? So augmented reality, virtual reality actually helps to bring in that experience of personalization, or helping them to digitally try it without actually being physically, the items being physically being present. That's a that will be a very big game changer, right? Now, coming from the retailer point of view, normally, if you look at the retailers, their larger share of business used to come from the impulsive buying, where people tend to came to buy a few items. We go to retail stores, but then they end up buying a lot more what they see, because that is visually appealing, and they end up buying more items. That is something which the retailers have lost today, because in the digital world, you go and search for a specific item, and you only get a relevant searches according to what you look for, or something which is related to that. So augmented reality and virtual reality, when people do that immersive buying, it gives back that impulsive buying opportunity for the retailers as well.
So you're kind of also having a marketing strategy associated with leveraging this particular technology.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Balavan, for that. And I'd like to now kind of bring upon the CEO of Lumex, Mr. Vineet Sani, who's, of course, having pioneering experience in this particular space and driving a lot of things in the digital transformation space. So Vineet, you've been associated in different eras of the industry. So how do you use the latest technologies related to AR, VR as part of your digital transformation strategies, and what is it that you're achieving in terms of optimization and asset utilization within your sector?
Yeah, Anand, thank you, and greetings to all the participants. See, I'll tell you this, all of us are talking this subject because of, pandemic, basically, which forced us to think this direction. And I strongly feel that why digitization or digitalization or digital transformation, whatever you may call, is being discussed so much, because across the world, all of us are facing the same problem. And therefore, this new thing is getting accepted easily. Suppliers are accepting it, customers are accepting it. Everybody is open to accept these new ideas. It's very important to understand why things are changing, because any new technology finds a lot of resistance. If supplier wants to do, customer doesn't want to acknowledge that. Customer wants to do, supplier doesn't have a skill set to do that. So, but today, everybody being put to face the same problem of pandemic understands that this is the only solution. That's very important, why this homogeneous atmosphere is getting created. That's point number one. Number two, part of this digitization or digital transformation, a small part is AR or VR or MR, whatever we are discussing, right? So I'll focus my discussion to AR because that is the main topic. For easy understanding, let's put it like this. AR, I am dividing in just two buckets. One bucket is where I have all the information available in the system, but it is not in front of me where and when I want. If I can get that, that is augmenting my reality. That is improving my reality. That's one set of information. The second bucket is, in my real environment, can I place a three-dimensional object to see how it would look or change my situation to enhance productivity? It's very simple. Just two important aspects. One, I'm repeating, information is available somewhere in the system. For example, machine temperature, efficiency, pressure, everything is available somewhere, but I don't have it. And since I don't have it, I can't take decisions. I can't use it. So if I can get that information when and where I want, I am augmenting my reality and helping a decision. Second, this is my real world, and I want to put an object and see. Without having that object, I can create digitally, put it, and it saves time. So essentially, how it is helping me. See, in manufacturing, we are hardcore manufacturing people. And therefore, we have a problem also of mindset. We believe more of a brick and mortar, and digitization takes more effort in our case. So, but how it helps is we have, 16 types of losses classified in manufacturing. AR and digitization helps us in quickly identifying them through predictive maintenance. It is also helping us in safety. especially during maintenance of the machines, maintenance of the equipments. It is really very helpful for safety and essentially productivity. On the other side, what I said about the three-dimensional thing, we like today we have 28 new locations, 28 manufacturing facilities in Lumax in India itself. So when we make a new plant, it is extremely important that when we plan the layouts, we use augmented reality, because you can't get machines to see how the layout would look. You can change it very effectively and come to the most optimized layout. And I would like to give you an example. We set up a new plant where we use AGVs, automated guided vehicle, for the first time in Gujarat. Now it's very important how the AGV would move, what path it would take without disrupting things on the way, right? Now, to simulate that, digital is the best way, AR is the best way to do. However, I would like to admit again that these are the pockets. I still have a bigger picture under creation in my mind where all these dots can be connected. And we have a very effective solution, maybe using AR where it is required, maybe using VR where it is required, and maybe using a simple digitization. So the boundaries actually are becoming seamless, right? So, but that bigger picture, the map of digitalization, or digital transformation is honestly not still clear in the mind, because we need to do a lot of work. Another, just last one point is, having said all that, it is very important that the skill of manpower that we have is also enhanced. A manpower that understands brick and mortar, for them to understand digitization is not easy, right? Our manpower comes from rural areas. They are not so much educated in manufacturing. So that kind of change is extremely important if we need to penetrate deep into any manufacturing organization. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Thanks. That was very profound, Vineet. Really, a lot of learnings and a lot of use cases that you have cited about how you're actually leveraging it. And obviously, training is so important. We'll have to move from the brick and mortar to someone that can actually get used to it, and that's what I think our complete education ecosystem is also kind of trying to change, to start giving engineers who will directly have a feel, leveraging augmented reality for their own benefits. So thanks a lot for your profound observation on how the trends are shaping up and what is it that we need to do in the future. So that brings me to Krunal. So Krunal, you're in the place where you're actually developing all of these beautiful looking gadgets that actually helps facilitate and eases all of us quite a bit. We obviously cannot look at augmented reality and virtual reality in isolation. So how is it that this can be integrated with the company's broader digital transformation strategy and goal?
Yeah, I mean, Anand, thank you so much for that question, first of all. And Vineet, sir, I think I would like to continue on your point. How can we have a kind of a Google map of digital transformation, uh, which can actually cover the entire enterprise? It is not that I am only talking of remote support using augmented reality to reduce my downtime. That is one. Then I want to improve my warehouse management by giving AR smart glasses to improve the efficiencies of warehouse operators. Then I have my manufacturing process where there are a lot of human interferences, and that needs to be augmented with information so that there are error rates are brought down and the turnaround times are improved. And then finally, we talk of the overall inspection, safety measures, quality assurance. And Vinit sir, to your this, and we have seen this out of our experience of 40 years in augmented reality, that there are enterprises who have started with remote support, moved to inspection, then moved to manufacturing, and then moved to warehouse as well. So we have customers who have lived with us with the full journey. So when we talk, Anand, about digital transformation, it is basically transforming the way a particular process is carried out and empowering the frontline workers. Basically, what we see is that, the first wave or the second wave of information technology, as we all say, or the third wave, was empowering decision makers with information, with analytics, with data, everything. Fourth wave is more towards the frontline. How do we empower the frontline, whether it is using IoT to collect the information, or whether it is with AR giving that information back to the person who can fix that, and that is our frontline worker. And to all our surprise, when we did a survey, 60, or rather in some industries, up to 80% of the business processes are done by frontline workers. And think of a scenario where if we can just improve this frontline worker productivity by 10%, that will be a huge improvement in the overall business productivity for the entire enterprise. So, Vinitsa, to your observation, basically, you can have AR-based use cases across the enterprise, different departments, and which can all then be brought together under one digital transformation map. The most common use cases which we see is, as was Senthil was talking, or Ajit was talking, was reducing the downtime using video-based remote support on augmented reality, and that is most common and very widely used. Second thing, why this all topic has become very important is because of platforms like TeamViewer, who has optimized the software to work with the wearables, with the hardware in varied environments. Now I have a customer who is like 200 kilometers away from Calcutta, who is using TeamViewer augmented reality platform to support the plant operation, and they are not in a very high bandwidth or a very high internet area, but they are successfully using it. They are seeking support from Italy to do the plant modernization. So these are very practical examples. Another example, one of the largest paint manufacturer uses their help their retailers to fix the tinting machines wherever required via our AR platform. So these are some practical real life examples solving real problems, and then everything coming back together into the digital transformation journey. So that's what, Anand, I would like to share.
Thanks, Kunal. Yeah.
Give me a minute, Kunal, just to add on a bit to what you said is, another thing that is happening is lot of platforms are coming in who are providing similar as TeamView. They are not as big or as prominent as you, but there are many small companies. They are also providing very good service in developing a platform. So what is happening is only, sporadic actions are happening. So the global actions are not happening as an organization. But unless there is a bigger picture clear in the mind what needs to be done in an organization, these efforts will always remain sporadic and they may not fructify.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree with you, sir. And that's the reason why enterprise like TeamViewer can help from the larger story stand.
I kind of, we have only a few minutes, but let's see what we can kind of capture within this. There is a question that has come up in the chat box from Mr. A.K. Singh. And I'll, of course, direct this to Ajit. So basically, Mr. Singh is asking, what is the role that AR and VR can play in Industry 4.0 for the manufacturing sector, and how especially for the automotive industry?
Okay, I will take the point what Vineet was saying a little while ago to answer this. First is that big picture is needed, which will actually fructify the results what everyone wants, and all of us are always been questioned on ROI. So that's where that big picture will help. And once you start Industry 4.0, or even some of them have started Industry 2.0 from onwards, is nothing but you have started connecting the machines, connecting the equipments, and lot of data is available. And the first and foremost, as most of us were saying, can I use it for, I'm very typically saying in the manufacturing domain, is to reduce my downtime, or in other words, improve my productivity. And this is where we try to analyze the alarms or the false alarms and try to provide quicker solution, faster solution, will be the best method. And Industry 4.0 will already enable you the connectivity on each machine. You will have a touchpad or a touch screen or a machine connected where you can interact. And this is where the first lever will be benefited when AR comes into it. And to explain this point, I will take again the example of a machine downtime. Or if there is any alarm get generated out of my industry 4.0 solution, which might be big or a small, gives me an alarm, I process it and comes with a solution which gets reflected out of an AR. That's actually the best example of an integration of an AR into industry 4.0, where my solution or my library or an expert comes in and inform that how that problem can be fixed by an operator itself than typical process in manufacturing that alarm goes to the your maintenance team then directs and comes down to doing it. If I reduce this cycle and give this back to my operator itself, when the machine is down anyway, his productivity is down. So by AR tool, if I give him a method to solve it, is an ultimate benefit to a manufacturing organization, which is in real time or in real cost part of it. Like the people sitting in sea cabins will able to actually make it happen and will able to give you more sponsorship for going ahead and doing it. Due to time constraint, I've given just a small example.
No. I think you answered a lot of questions that's there on the chat box that I'm seeing. There were multiple questions. I think you have addressed many of those. Thanks, Ajit, for that. I'm just going to pick one more from the chat box, and I think I'll direct this to Mr. Vineet. Basically, the question is, how can AR improve maintenance practices?
I think AR could be very, very useful in maintenance, honestly. And again, having said that, you need to have the right culture in the organization to use AR. I want to just qualify that. Just buying AR would not help solve maintenance problems. But let's assume that culture is created, management from top is committed, and then I am telling how it could be useful in maintenance. So please assume that. Yeah. So in maintenance, what happens is that there is a theory, which is the maintenance book of a machine, and there is a practical problem. And in 99.99%, the person who maintains has not read the book. So AR, while he is wearing a wearable, maybe HoloLens or something, he can see the clear instructions. So what I want to say is AR is bridging a wide gap between theory and practical. He can see the machine, he can see the parts, and he can follow the instructions. Please open screw number 10. Now, please remove the knob, which is yellow color. He can follow and maintain. And then gradually he gets trained to do that. That is point number one. But that is again a reactive maintenance. I would always say that predictive maintenance is important. And in this case, the data of the machine can tell you on your mobile that machine wants a maintenance in next 5 days. Like today, even in the cars, you have these facilities, right? So this is a predictive maintenance. So there are many tools which can be used to train our people through AR. And this would really help in maintaining. And trust me, the one of the biggest losses that we face in manufacturing is on account of maintenance. And each of the plant head would be worried on the repair and maintenance expense head, which is never justified in his lifetime. So AR will really help in solving those issues. Again, I am saying with again a caveat, the right culture and right penetration from the topmost person that this has to be implemented. That's important.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot. Yeah, we need to create enough budgets and we need to have the will from the leadership team. Thanks. Thanks so much for that, Vineet. I think we just have very few minutes for this. So Hafiz, do we get Prunal to start his presentation about this, please? Because
Prunal, over to you, Prunal. Yeah. I think we have taken some more minutes, but over to you.
I'll try and squeeze it as much as possible. Just to kind of summarize everything what we discussed and the feedback what my esteemed panelists have given and shared their knowledge, I have just created something which talks about which talks about how can we help. TeamViewer today has grown from a normal remote support application to a full-fledged platform. And last 15 years, we have been developing solutions and giving solutions to enterprises for variety of use cases. This one platform now fits your enterprise. So to the point which everyone was discussing, that how do I have a one digital platform on which I can do multiple things and use AR across the enterprise. That's what we offer as an enterprise. The fact that frontline worker make maximum part of the enterprise, and the fact that empowering the frontline worker with real-time information can change the way how we work and the productivity of the enterprises. It becomes very critical that we address this issue at the grassroots level, and that's what we are proposing, or what we are promoting is that we have a connected system which is connected in front end and in back end, gives a very, very hands-free experience, improves the worker productivity, and it is very flexible software as a service platform. We see a lot of change in the overall manufacturing processes. Knowledge gap, which translates into skill, training, management, increasing complexity. Even with automation, we see what to automate, how much to automate, how many processes would be still human driven. We have seen even large enterprises who are into large discrete manufacturing have micro assemblies which are human driven, and so such kind of knowledge is there, and there is a complexity increasing with everything being connected. Resolution time is becoming important in primarily in post-sale support, and now everything as a service. Now I was talking to other day with one of the leader from a tire company. He says that we have started something called as a tire as a service. And so with everything as a service model, resolution times have become very critical for enterprises. And innovation, as all the leaders, innovation is a competitive advantage. It is not that, innovation is good to have. Innovation is bringing the competitive advantage for leaders. Having said that, augmented reality has an impact across different industries, different departments within the companies. It is not only maintenance or support, but it is maintenance, repair, after sales, training, warehouse management, manufacturing, everything. And we can help you across entire value chain of your industry manufacturing as well as supply chain process. So the platform is a software as a service platform. It offers you features and functionalities for remote support, which we all discussed about. It's a video-based support along with AR tracer. Then inspection. This is another area which can be optimized and digitized. You have enterprises where you have safety inspections, quality assurance, factory acceptance tests, remote testing, etc. happening. All this can be given on the smart glass as a workflow, step by step in a guided manner to fix the problems. Manufacturing, again, a very guided assembly, what to assemble, when, how, and how do we fix that. Finally, warehouse management. So what to pick, what to sort, how to pick, where to keep it, creating a digital map of the entire warehouse on the smart wearable is what we can achieve via the enterprise. So in all, a totality of enterprise can be digitized and brought into a virtual environment on the augmented reality smart wearable. Normal features are AR tracer, pointers, whiteboard, live chat, file transfer, recording, multiple expert in the same session, and trying to solve a problem is already available. Best is this platform is optimized for bandwidth. We have customers in India who are using it even at absolutely low bandwidth and very comfortably using it, connecting to different different partners, different suppliers across the world. The software also comes with a workflow, because most of these processes are workflow driven. Your SOPs, your GMPs, your safety audit, etc., needs to be digitized and given in the platform. We support across a different front end. So someone talk about RealWear, Google Lens, Microsoft. We support the entire value chain of hardware front end devices, not only wearables, but also mobile phones and tablets, as well as smart wearables like barcode scanners and RFID scanners. Some of the very existing use cases like Airbus. Airbus is into helicopter manufacturing, aeroplane manufacturing. They use TeamViewer augmented reality for inspection. And while manufacturing process, they optimize the micro assembly by a step-by-step guided procedure. They have achieved a very, very significant turnaround time. Similarly, Fendt in Germany have achieved a very transparent way of working. They use it in manufacturing optimization. Toyota uses it in after sales. So they have after sales support across different locations. They use TeamViewer augmented reality to support their mechanics on their modern electronic equipments or modern automobile equipment for helping them to fix the L2, L3, or L4 level problems. Leibher is a German company. They use IoT and augmented reality in together, where they use the entire platform for doing maintenance. The alerts come from IoT. The alerts are designed and given onto the smart wearable, and hence the engineers take the necessary action. We understand this is not a singular platform. As everyone was pointing out, it's an enterprise journey, enterprise platform, and hence integration is very important. We support all the major integration protocols, whether integrating is your SAP or Oracle or Microsoft or even AFS or warehouse management systems like Manhattan. We have integration experience and we can deliver that as a part of the project. We deliver end-to-end projects, so you don't have to find out a different supplier for hardware, different supplier for software, etc., etc. We take the full responsibility and deliver that. So next steps, friends. I hope I am in time, which I am. I know we'll be very, very happy to reach out to each one of you, talk to you. We definitely have very exciting offers and discounts, etc., for people who have registered and who have attended for sure. One last topic, friends, this is not a future technology. This is a current technology available in 3G, 4G, 5G bandwidth levels, and you can start using it today. With that, I will hand it over back to Anand and Hafiz.
Thanks a lot, Ronald, for explaining about what you guys do. So if I have to conclude, of course, the future of augmented reality in manufacturing perhaps is the integration of AI, data analytics, cloud, sensors, robotics, and other technologies. So we can envision a centralized management platform where AR will also be part of that, that can control the potential to control every element in the factory in a bidirectional manner, thereby perpetually optimizing a factory. So we can expect AR could be applied to a video stream from a consumer of a current product's condition. The video could be applied in an AR aspect on the business case or in the customer service space. As a result, the end users or the customers or the consumers does not have to lose time or any time in bringing the product into the store. The supply chain partners does not lose any time in analyzing the product, problems with the product, and the consumers will be able to obtain or repair or replace without any downtime. So this is what is likely to kind of propel the entire supply chain forward. So I know we have a panel of luminaries, and we unfortunately have only 60 minutes to speak so much in this particular space. So we're really doing injustice to so many people out here. Perhaps we need to have a day-long session just exclusively to hear about the lovely case studies and the use cases that many of you have got. But I've learned quite a bit, and I hope the panel here have also learned quite a bit with examples from other dignitaries. And we also had a very good participation of almost about 120 of them who showed up for it, who have all been enthralled with what AR can do. So with that, I'd like to now hand this over and thank all of you for your time, energy, and effort to actually be part of this particular event. And I now hand this over to Hafiz for the next steps. Thank you very much.
Anand, thank you very much. Really appreciate. You've been a strong backbone for the entire panel discussion for today. And as you correctly said, we point taken. Next time we're going to have a longer time for that. For everyone to share their learnings. I'm sure people are still stick to it. Because we have overtimed it, but people are stick around us. If I it won't be justice if we won't take a couple of questions from the offline people who have sent question to us. There was one question which was exciting, that how the AR will make quick decision on manufacturing challenges like breakdowns, any plan changes, material shortage, and quality issues. If anyone would like to take this from the dignitary.
See, what happens is AR or digitize or whatever, it really facilitates decision-making process. For example, now we have, for example, 43 molding machines, and all data can be screen or can be seen on my screen, for example, or a manufacturing head screen. And there could be a alarm that something is going wrong in this particular machine on the pressure pump. It is possible, right? So before it happens, at the first instant you have an alarm and you can preempt that disaster to happen in terms of safety or a quality problem that can come in, which you would know only after it has happened. So this is the first example that actually it is happening. You will come to know those signals. Number one. Number two, let's go to safety. Now, we use a lot of lacquer in our manufacturing, and there are filters, micro filters, which have to be changed at a particular frequency. If you don't change it, it gets blocked and there is a fire hazard. Now, depending manually on that, as we were doing in the past, is risky. But if we could get that augmented reality right in front of you, look, filter is now 75% done. It's a maintenance time. You are averting tragedies. That's a decision-making point. Plus, there is escalations. Third example, which I think all of you will know. You ask a person, I will use a language of understanding. Ye kiya? Nahi sir, bhul gaya. This is a standard reply, unfortunately, in our kind of a culture, which is changing. I don't want to be critical on that, but this is a fact. Now AR tells you, please don't forget, bhulo nahi, ye pata hai tumhare samne hai. So you are closing the escape routes, which is required in management of things. So there are various examples which helps in decision making, quick decision making, timely decision making, providing you the right data, which is otherwise available in remote place or near the machine. So you won't know. And most of the time you are addressing that you are doing a damage control. But with AR, you can be proactively involved in decision making and avert that damage.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. There was much insight that I'm sure the people who wanted to know, I think you answered it very well. Senthil, if you wanted to take this, somebody, Arvind, he also written an offline question that he's planning a battery manufacturing plant, and how can we collaborate AR with productivity and supply chain management? You've been an expert, I'm sure, if you can add to it. Yep. Followed by Ajit, if you want to add to it.
Yep. So let me try and answer to some extent. So as we were talking, the most important aspect of the AR part coming up on the maintenance, but it is not restricted to maintenance as well. So since it's a new company that's coming up, so we can use it extensively for training, which is the most important use case at the initial stages of an upcoming plant. And it can be used for all our manufacturing manuals. So people, gone are the days like when you buy a new mobile device, how big is a manual that you get, and how many times you would have gone through it, because we prefer everything to be more visual, more real, contextual. So we can't go and search an 300-page document to understand what we need to do. And people don't have that much of patience. So in that way, AR really helps us bringing in contextual information, let it be an standard operating procedure or an service manual. So we'll be able to navigate directly to the point that we are interested in. So it saves time, and it also ensures that the quality is achieved at the very first time. So these are some of the simple use cases I can't bring in, but there are enough use cases of deploying AR right from the beginning, right from the layout design, manufacturing, training, quality aspects. And we talked enough on the maintenance aspect for sure. Yes, it is. And there are use cases on warehouse with respect to helping picking, all of that. So it's not just limited to one single use case, but it can be extensively used, and partnering with the right partner will help us tap the entire gamut of the features that we can tap with AR.
So Hafiz, I'll just take 30 seconds just to add the S-Class Mercedes and E-Class. They don't have the service manual in the recent models. You just need to point out your phone on the device, and there will be numbers. You click the number, and you know what is the function. So the service manual is getting eliminated from the system.
Mr. Ajit, you want to add to it if you have anything?
The key aspect will remain, as Senthil was also mentioning, that you can use AR from the beginning itself. Typically in manufacturing organization, you will conduct a 3P workshop or a or a layout workshop. From there, you can start AR to even the later on installations, commissioning, then training, certifications, and he's going to put up a battery manufacturing plant, which will also have a lot of hazardous chemicals. So even making sure those are monitored properly, the work instructions are being used, are also a very vital role. And in your supply chain management also, you can use some of those not full AR, but at least some of the digitization tools to make the life simpler. It's more like an industry 4.0 getting added into it. Will be more beneficial there with an optimal cost part of it.
Thank you very much.
Hafiz, if I may add,
Yeah.
particularly since he's talking about a hazardous industry, where safety becomes of a paramount criticality, we can kind of simulate a lot of unfortunate events and prepare the team for how to respond to those events through AR/VR, and that will be a very big value add for such industries which deals with hazardous chemicals.
I'm sure there are a lot of questions, but I'm sure we can take that offline, and there are because there was still a lot of question which was sent earlier. I think amazingly, wonderfully, Anand, I'm sure you've been the backbone, as Ali said. Thank you very much, dear panel members, for your insights, which you have shared. The session was amazingly filled with real life scenarios and much more. We appreciate the entire panel speakers: Senthil Kumar, Ajit Deshpande, Vinit Sahni sir, Anand, Bala sir, and Krunal, you summed it very well, committed and dedicated in sharing insight in the interest of the industry. Additionally, the thought-provoking question from audience made the discussion very lively. We hope it was a learning experience for each stakeholders of the summit. Thank you very much from Team Manufacturing today and ITP. And we, as Anand said, we will definitely come back with a longer time and with much more to learn. And by the till that time, be safe. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.